Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber1 News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Good Friday morning to you. It's the 6th day of November, and still it's Election Day once again. Good morning, Spencer. How you doing, bud?
What's going on? Is it 2021 yet?
Nope.
TGIF.
Still 2020. Still the first week in November here. I said yesterday we may know election results for the presidency. Today I'm going to say again, we may know election results from the presidency, but who knows? ABC will provide us status updates as they have been throughout the morning. On the show today, Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District, and we're going to have a revisit on a real important conversation with Annette Creekpaum and Kristen Masteller from PUDs 3 and 1 respectively. They are on to remind folks again about the opportunity to get some financial assistance on their bills because of COVID. The deadline for PUD 3 customers is Tuesday, while PUD 1 customers have until the 20th. There is information on their websites, but we'll once again have them. The rain has really seemed to stick here. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's sticking around a little bit longer than we thought, but it should taper off, they're saying, by this morning, and we should still see some sunshine by the afternoon, and a little bit narrower on the sunshine for the weekend. It may start raining as early as Sunday again, and mostly into next week.
Mason County Public Health notified of 10 additional Mason County residents testing positive for COVID-19, bringing the total to 604 cases since this began back in March. There are 46 active cases currently, and 2 of these are hospitalized within Mason County. Washington set a daily record for coronavirus cases this week and has counted more than 1,000 cases for 2 days. The State Department of Health says 1,469 infections were tallied on Tuesday. Seattle Times reports the previous record for confirmed cases of that was set July 16th when it was 1,267 new cases. Difficult to know whether the cases on Tuesday represent an acceleration in transmission or just a random variation in reported cases from day to day. Saw that across the nation we had topped 120,000 cases in one day. That was yesterday, and beat the record set previous day of 100,000.
Justice Stephen Gonzalez has been elected as the next Chief Justice of the Washington State Supreme Court. Gonzalez was elected by his colleagues yesterday. He will succeed current Chief Justice Deborah Stevens, who will continue to serve as a justice on the 9-member court following her re-election this week. Stevens was elected as Chief Justice last November to serve out the remainder of the term of former Chief Justice Mary Fairhurst. The Chief Justice presides over the court's public hearings, serves as the administrative head of the state's judicial branch, and is the court's main spokesperson.
A divided Washington Supreme Court says the state's dairy workers are entitled to overtime pay if they work more than 40 hours a week. A 5-4 ruling yesterday extends overtime protections for the first time into Washington state's agricultural sector, and its reasoning is expected to apply to other farm workers as well. Now, for the past 60 years, state law has exempted farm workers from the class of workers entitled to overtime, but the court found that unconstitutional as applied in the dairy industry. Dairies say it means vastly increased labor costs and could prompt the turn to more robotics.
When the Washington State Legislature convenes in January, the Capitol building will remain closed to the public and lobbyists due to the pandemic, and lawmakers will do their work through a mix of virtual meetings and on-site votes. The Senate Facilities and Operations Committee met yesterday to discuss the protocols for the 105-day session that begins January the 11th, including a remote option via Zoom for the public to join committee hearings. The House has not yet made an official decision on how to approach the session, but Speaker Lori Jenkins told reporters yesterday that they are leaning towards doing their work completely remotely, with one lawmaker presiding from the chamber.
Coming up on Monday here on this show, we're going to have a collection of Mason County winners when it comes to the election. I have scheduled in conversations with 35th District Representative Dan Griffey, 35th District Representative Drew McEwen, Mason County Commissioner Kevin Schutte. I've also have a line out to Mason County Commissioner Randy Netherland. He has yet to respond to my request, but we'll see what happens there. But we'll get a check-in with Drew and Dan especially to see if they think about maybe a special session before January and their thoughts on this perhaps remote hybrid approach to how they're going to do the legislature this session. Travelers who use I-5 through Lakewood plan extra time during overnight travel this weekend. It could be up to 3-mile backups as they are still doing that work over the Thorn Lane off and on ramps. This is right around JBLM. So if you're driving starting 10:30 tonight and then again tomorrow night, rough going on I-5 kind of near JBLM and South Tacoma.
Washington's ocean beaches will remain closed to razor clam harvest until at least next month after test results on razor clams dug at Long Beach, Twin Harbors, Claylock, and Copalis indicate levels of domoic acid that exceed the threshold of 20 parts per million set by state public health officials for safe consumption.
Tomorrow, we'll have Washington State Cougar football on the radio, and it's not like we've had these last couple of weeks where it's kind of a recap of games that are in progress and things like this. This is real deal Holyfield here with the Cougs and Oregon State, both teams opening up their Pac-12 coronavirus-shortened season. Former Washington State coach Mike Leach, he's moved on to Mississippi State, taking that air raid offense with him. Nick Rolovich, the old Hawaii coach, is here now and will work on the run and shoot. Beavers are debuting a new starting quarterback as well. Their former Jake Luton has gone to the NFL. We'll find out what happens tomorrow here on the radio with the Cougs and Oregon State, the Beavs, here on the radio. Seahawks play the Bills with an 8 o'clock pregame and a 10 o'clock kickoff, and the Seahawks on Sunday are presented by Shelton Health and Rehab, Riviera's Shellfish, South Sound Appliance, Dogtown Grooming, Neil's Pharmacy, and the Shelton Athletic Club. Again, today on the show, Dr. Alex Apostle, and important information for Mason County PUD 3 and PUD 1 customers for some financial assistance opportunities because of coronavirus. Annette Creekpaum and Kristen Masteller will be on to talk about that. It's all coming up here on this Friday. Good morning to you.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
A good Friday morning to you. On the phone line now from the Shelton School District, Dr. Alex Apostle. How you doing, Alex?
Very good, Jeff. Nice to be talking with you today.
For sure. Nice to talk with you. It's been, of course, a continuing conversation about perhaps eventually some sort of hybrid reopening for schools, but these numbers for coronavirus still continue to be on the rise in the state of Washington, across the country, and here in Mason County. What are you learning from? Let's go with this. What are you learning from the folks who you hear from, Dr. Stein, Dave Wyndham from the health department, and then what are you also hearing from the other schools that feed into the Shelton School District?
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a meeting here this morning with my colleagues from Pioneer Hood Canal and so on. But they're much smaller than we are, and it's probably a little easier for them to do things than for us. But what I'm hearing from Dr. Stein, and I'm awaiting a letter from him, and so are my colleagues, in terms of giving us some general direction, but they've been really clear. The health department has been very clear that this is a decision that will be made at the school district level in conjunction with the school board and myself. But today at 4:30, we're having a study session where we will be addressing a possible model to reopen schools at a certain point in time. And I don't want to say too much because I haven't met with the school board yet. And I'm not sure, what their feelings are going to be in terms of the situation that we're in. So I'll have more information that than I have now after this evening's meeting.
I've been seeing a lot of reports, and I know it's not unique to Mason County schools, but schools across the state here. There have been some numbers that have come out with pretty dramatic decreases in student the kids on the rolls in the schools. Have you seen that in the Shelton School District, or what are you going to try to do to get those back?
We're doing, the disengagement is a real issue across the country because this is a different model of education, and families and our students and our staff and all of us, we're doing everything we can to engage our students, but it's difficult. And do we have an issue here at Shelton? Yes, we do. And we're trying to think of different ways to deal with that particular issue. But, it's not easy. It's just not. There's some students are disconnected totally. Some are disengaged. And then some are engaged, but they're not performing. And so this is a constant issue, not only here in Shelton, but like you mentioned, throughout the state, throughout the country. And it's something that our staff is working diligently on every single day to connect with students, to bring them into the fold in terms of their learning. And so we're doing everything we can, Jeff, to make it through here.
Hard to believe but we're coming up on quarter of the year being done already.
Yeah.
How are you when it comes to this engagement issue? If we're going to think ahead to the end of the year, how will these students be tested or whatever to determine whether or not they've reached the metrics to move up a grade? Last year, because of how everything shook out, I think everybody was just moved on to the next grade, regardless perhaps of the skills and understanding of the curriculum. But we're not going to be able to do that this year. But how are we going to determine whether or not people are ready?
We're in a better place at this point, but we're not exactly where we need to be. So with the pandemic, the way it's running, and with everything else going on around us, we still need to give, in my opinion, we need to give all the support that we can to our kids and give them the benefit of the doubt whenever we can. These are extremely difficult times for our students. And even the ones that are online every single day, it's not real easy for them either. And so our position, and I'm going to be dealing this very very specifically with our staff, is we need to take everything into account as we evaluate our kids. Now, colleges and universities, I'm told, on the transcript, they're accepting no credit or pass on the transcript, and they're not holding that against students. So everybody's in the same boat here. There's no easy answer, but we're doing everything we can each and every day to support our kids. And our teachers and our staff are doing a tremendous job under the circumstances. There's no question about that. And we're much better off now than we were in the spring.
This is a high-pressure situation that you, the other supers in Mason County, the state, the parents, all of us are in right now. And so we'll continue to monitor the numbers and the levels and make sure all the information gets out to those who need it. Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District. You can find the Shelton School District online at sheltonschools.org with information about upcoming meetings and gatherings where parents can get more information. Thanks, Alex. You have a safe and good weekend.
Take care.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey from iFiber One via Zoom video conference. I've got great representation from both of the PUDs here in Mason County, Kristen Masteller and Annette Creekpaum. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. The PUDs 1 and 3 were able to get some funding from the Mason County Commissioners, and this is going to help folks across Mason County who have any kind of COVID-19 related financial hardships. So this is very exciting, but there's some time frame on this, and that's why we're getting you on here first. Annette, let's start with you and talk about the PUD3 numbers and where folks can go to find information on this.
Okay, so yes, we want folks to sign up and fill out an application that is online. And so it's at PUD3.org cares. You can see it on our website. And there is an application to fill out. And the PUD has $300,000 to disperse by November 10th. It's first come, first serve basis. We'll look at all applications, take into account people with past due balances as priority, and then go from there, down the list to see who has, the greatest need. But it's not just need-based. But a financial effect with COVID. So you'll get stepped through with the application process.
And so really throughout the county, there is either by PUD 1 or PUD 3, 100% of the county is covered here by the public utility districts. So it would be encouraged just to fill out that application regardless and see what happens because the monies are there and it's got to be doled out, like you said, for PUD 3 by the 10th. Now, Kristen, is it a little later application deadline for PUD 1?
Yeah, we don't have as many customers as Annette's utility does, so it's not going to take us quite as long to process. We got a $50,000, just shy of $50,000 CARES Act appropriation from Mason County Commissioners, which we're incredibly grateful for. And our program is really similar to what Annette described, priority for the people that have set up long-term payment arrangements with us, but still have past due accounts. And we don't want to have to forfeit any of the funds, so we're encouraging everybody to contact us, fill out the form. Let's try to put those funds to use in our county.
Do either of you know whether or not how much of an impact there has been? Like if you were to take the total of everyone in your utility district and look at the past due bills, I'm sure it's over those amounts provided by the county. But is it a huge disparity? And I'm wondering just in this general sense of how people are able to keep up on their payments since this has started?
Yeah, so before, COVID started, we had people down to almost zero in 90 days past due. So we take credit for that with our customer service agents, working with our customers in our prepaid meters and, our NISC system. And so that's a real success. So now we're just over 300,000 in that 90-day classification.
Wow.
And when we look at 30, 60, 90, it's over $750,000. So,
holy moly.
And we're going into winter time. And so that's why the timing is really excellent to get these things out for customers so that we can get them on their bills, credits, and really get this thing out there for other payments.
Are these specific for residential only, or can it be business or if there's a business within a residential, or how does that work?
Yeah. So it is for residential customers. That was called for in the agreement with the county commissioners because there's other funds for businesses.
Okay.
Businesses who are experiencing COVID hardship should reach out to the Economic Development Council because they've received subrecipient grants to be able to support the businesses.
The other thing I was thinking about as you were talking, Annette, going into the winter months, I know traditionally PUD 3 has had a program where folks could add a little bit to their payments to help folks who may not be able to make payments. Is that something that's going to continue on this season? And does PUD 1, Kristen, do that? Annette, first to you.
Yeah, so our fund is called Project Share.
Yeah.
And so if people are listening and have extra dollars, they can do that. And so that's very helpful for folks that can't afford the bills. And so we do that, as well as roundup. So if you can round up your bill, that's always helpful too. So if you're making out your bill, you just round it up the next dollar or two that you can afford to. So people do appreciate that.
And Kristen, do you guys do that at PUD1?
Yeah, we have a similar donation assistance program called the Canal Comfort Fund. And that's actually a really good lead in, Jeff, because one of the things that we're explaining to our customers is that the new round of Canal Comfort Fund assistances are available right now through Community Action Council. And these CARES Act funds are in addition to that. They're not one or the other. And the CARES Act funds are not income based. So really, any household in Mason County, regardless of your income level, if you can show a financial hardship due to COVID-19, you're eligible for those funds. And if you're a Community Action Council eligible customer who receives LIHEAP and other assistance programs through CAC, in addition to that, you're also eligible for these CARES Act funds. So really, there's multiple layers of assistance, and customers should really reach out to us for help to try to get current on their bills. Because as Annette said, going into the winter months, I don't think any of us were prepared to carry long-term 90-plus day balances into December and January. And I don't want our customers to get in a position where they can't ever catch up.
Right. Oh my gosh. So $300,000 has been secured for the Mason PUD 3, $50,000 for assistance in Mason County PUD 1. I'll put the links to the addresses here, but it's pud3.org/cares. You'll see it right there on the main page, and mason-pud1.org. And there's information there. Kristen also mentioned if businesses are going through hardships and struggles, the EDC has been out there helping folks as well. So the deadlines for PUD 3 is November 10th to get those applications in. Fill them out, because you never know if you'll be eligible, and it doesn't take a heck of a lot of time, and you could definitely get some benefit there. November 20th is the deadline for PUD 1. Annette, Kristen, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to see you healthy and safe, and we'll check in down the road, okay?
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.